He didn't use his brain, Lexi.
We could always go to Preston a different way. For the scenic route.
Scenic route, that would be a way around.
That would be a real scenic route.
My grandpa doesn't ever, he doesn't want to do stuff.
Not that bad of a scenic route.
There's a farfish to
I got a break right here.
Take it.
Whee!
What? I placed a Taurus in there.
Oh, that's what
I'd only been about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive to Preston.
Compared to an hour.
That was only like 45 minutes.
So you know how my little cousin made live, okay? That's her proudly carrying it
Oh.
in the car. It's adorable. Then my grandpa gave his opinion. Wrapped up in a blanket. And her actually doing it.
That's good. Relax.
Yes, I do set an alarm so I can try and get
Up
live on time for you
live.
guys.
It's one car like Breeze, but just a different color.
How far are you?
I can fit. Just
Smack.
my head doesn't like it.
Okay, shared to everyone. Now let's go in.
I don't really want to go in Logan Cemetery, as busy as that looks.
Kelly!
Does anyone but me have anyone here they want to visit?
Just you.
It's up to Danny, but I say we can go ahead and go. We come other times to visit.
Logan Cemetery looks...
It's busy, 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 busy. I've just heard from Constance. Considering the sort of foundables she and the rest of the SOS task force are seeing, I'd say our first experiment was a success. We were able to combine our memories of our first year at Hogwarts to create one unified search. You really think creating searches based on our adventures with Ron will restore his missing memories? Yes, and I'm confident our second experiment will prove it. You saw it yourself during the last search, Harry. Every time we returned to Foundable, Ron was suddenly able to recall a related memory. That can't be a coincidence. The calamity must be the key to restoring Ron's memories.
No!
Well, we've exhausted all our other options, so I sincerely hope you're right. Don't worry, Harry. If everything goes as predicted, more than one question will be answered by this search's end. I'm wondering, too. I have a suspicion somehow it's related to the, as I read that, I'm wondering if the unforgivable is somehow based on the thing to wipe people's memories that Lockhart used. Are we going to get Lockhart returned? Did the unforgivable maybe lose their memories? And that, or not the unforgivable, but the 9 lose their memories, and that's why, and maybe whoever's with the unforgivable, they're trying to restore memories of someone. And does that have anything to do with what happened to his parents? Just some things I'm curious about. So then we also get to the question of, is Hermione somehow... Would Hermione somehow know, does she have some more hints that she's not sharing about why she says more than one question will be answered? Or is she just thinking they'll be able to completely restore Ron's memories? And Ron can answer the questions. But if Ron was kidnapped and kept away from everything and never saw the person or saw anyone, yeah, he wouldn't have any answers. And so the question is why?
Because Bret had it. She was in charge of that activity, but then they did this take social, so she wants to do softball.
So your ward's doing an activity at the same time as the stake social?
No! They were planning, then the stake social took place, so Bret wants to do softball.
On her own.
I'm gonna do softball. And I'm gonna suck.
Who knows? Maybe you'll hit her home run, Kayden.
I don't think there is one
That's
to
better.
softball.
Yes, there is.
I don't know to stop. Yes, there's a
Softball
home
rules
run
are
in
generally
softball.
the same as baseball.
Softball rules are the same as baseball, basically.
Considering Bret played softball, I'm pretty sure I'm screwed.
A movie theater a long time ago.
There's no way a baseball is a quarter of the size of a softball. Otherwise, the softball's about this big.
Softballs are about like that.
No, they are not.
Softball's like that, man. Baseball's like that. Softball's like that.
Now, they may be a portion of the size, but not a quarter of the size.
No. This thing is correct. It's
Softballs, but they were baseballs that were softer than baseballs.
a regulation softball is significantly larger than a regulation baseball. Softball measures between 11.88 and 12.13 inches in circumference and weighs between 6.2 to
Yeah, so
7
about
ounces.
this big
He said inches, so that's about a foot.
in circumference.
Yeah, in circumference.
Yeah, and my hand is
Baseball
about,
measures between 9 and
is just short
9.5.
of, a dodgeball is, the dodgeballs we always used were like this big.
Yeah, dodgeballs have got smaller since you've last used them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Those are
Dodgeballs
kickballs
have
that
shrunk.
you thing.
Dodgeballs we knew have shrunk.
But generally, dodgeballs have gotten smaller. You can agree with
But
that.
you get, so when I think dodgeball, do you get why I said there's no way that a softball could be the size of a dodgeball when I'm thinking of the dodgeballs that are about this big?
Yeah, those
Or
are
bigger?
kickballs now.
That would be
I remember
really hard to hit,
throwing
right, Kayden?
Did you see
Kickball,
what happened up
dodgeball,
there the other day?
kickballs is dodgeballs.
That SV on the mountain, Dad.
Yeah, it went to
Green
Green Canyon.
Someone went, so they're bricks. And someone, I guess, white bricks that they used to make the SV. And someone went up and rearranged them to make a
Green
GC.
Canyon. GC.
And the as a senior prank.
Yep.
And the teacher, some of the teachers went up during the night, early morning after it was found, and either that or maybe the people did or students. Someone said it was the
Outrage here
teachers.
in Smithfield
but they
bought it, so the
put a
Smithfield went
SV.
up that day, and
Yeah, someone went up and someone went up and put it back. But honestly, I think that for all the senior pranks, that was
a really good one.
yeah, it was
harmless.
it was harmless. I mean,
That was football prank.
okay,
Happened
but
during the football season. Logan
Yeah.
and I dumped a whole bunch of manure on our football field. So guess what we did to retaliate? We dumped even more on Logan.
manure was a lot
More
easier
plentiful.
for us than for them. And I mean, one of the people in our age now, not one of the farmers, but I think one of the cheerleaders, I can't remember. All they had to do was drive up to Zillis's and they'd have access to more than Logan had.
Wait to see what the weather does.
A week after. Because they've been saying
Usually
that
doesn't cut it till the first or second.
there's a
We're almost
possibility we
entering
have
the
rain
beginning
this
of
week.
June now, but usually it doesn't cut it till the second week of June.
They're calling the weather meteorologist saying there's a possibility that we'll get rain. You think I said possibility?
But also, and I hope people think about it and don't just do it for this. Let's get rain once. The more it becomes that we get the that we start getting the moisture we need to pull us out of a drought
Now you can, Dad.
and give the farmers plenty of moisture to make it through the summer. Well, through the summer and fall.
That green car's taking her sweet little time.
And then hopefully they do another one for the winter to
That doesn't change.
build up.
It changes what year they
Heavenly Father, man, sure prayers for moisture, but we need moisture up on those hills during the winter months.
What it usually is.
Uh-oh.
What?
Another person got pulled over.
Yeah, cops are going to be out in force today. In fact, from what I hear, every police department has
Double.
well, no, they basically, no one is allowed off on Memorial Weekend, is my understanding, in every police department in the state.
There's a few people that get off.
Okay, my
So
understanding
they got
is,
those lame commercials.
Well-
Click it or ticket.
It's
My-
the truth, though.
my guess is the ones off are like, well, I've even heard they pull the school resource officers, a lot of them, and put them on patrol. But if you're a patrol officer, from what I've heard, you're almost guaranteed to have to work. So, but possibly school resource officers could be given time off because they may be asked to work or given the option to work, but they may not be required to. Because there's only so many extra cars.
I know Bruce's cousin has it off today.
Okay, he's probably not a patrol officer. I mean, it's possible he is, but from what I understood, where does he work with?
He just patrols in Logan and goes around to...
So he's in Logan? I'm surprised because last I heard they had literally announced from then on Memorial Day, no one was having the weekend off unless he got someone, maybe he got someone who was like a detective or something to cover for him, and they're taking his vehicle out, or the vehicle he's usually assigned. Reason I say that, the reason they don't want to give any of them the time off, Kayden, is it's the start of the deadliest days of summer. They want to have an extreme. Well, they work their shift each day. You can't work everyone 24 hours. You can't work people 24 hours a day for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. There's no way. So it's possible that he does work, just he works...
They've got a new lease coming right there.
Yep.
Just that would give you all day Saturday or things like that. Does that make sense? Because you got to think there's if they do 8-hour shifts, there's 3 shifts in a day. That means you could have 32 hours in between shifts.
Too bad their outlet store isn't open today.
Mm-hmm. But, well, yes and no. Yes, because if it was open, we could stop by, but no, because you really want to force someone to work on a weekend, or on a holiday.
I wouldn't want to force anyone to work on a holiday.
And for them to be open, they'd have to have someone
I have a feeling we're going to have to find some food, though, because I think all of us are starting to get a little hungry.
I knew I should have brought my pills, and then I didn't grab them. But I can eat, and it'll slowly digest.
Till we get home.
Mm-hmm. If we get something sweet, it'll react. It'll absorb until...
You know that town you go to the scout camp you used to work at, Danny, Whole Valley? That's where the JBS's plant president lives, just in that little town. Aw, a dead raccoon.
It might be cute to have a pet.
So what is that, an hour and a half drive or so? Every day, one way?
Every one way. We have people kind of working from Provo. They drive from Provo to JBS.
Holy crap.
Why?
That's a 3-hour drive.
Why
Every
would
morning.
they do that, Dad?
There
It's a
and
job.
back. So that would mean that if they start when you do, they're leaving at like 1 a.m. At that point, I'd almost get a hotel or get somewhere up here during the week. Because if they're starting and ending when you are, I don't know how they have time to sleep. Unless they just pay a driver and the driver just drives.
Carpool.
Even then, you've got, here's the problem I can see. To start when you start, which is at 5, right? That would mean you'd have to leave Provo at 2 a.m.
Fabrication starts at 6.
Okay, but just going on yours, not even Fab's, yours. Leave Provo at 2 a.m. Then you get off at 3 p.m., which means they wouldn't get home till 6 p.m. That means if they didn't drop anyone off, literally left from when they leave Provo to when they get back, that would be 8 hours. With no stopping for food, anything else.
Hey, look, there's a cemetery, Kayden.
And so, but Fab, okay, let's say Fab, they leave at 3 a.m., but Fab generally doesn't get off till like an hour or 2 after you. So you're talking the same or less sleep.
It's not very good to drive all the way from Provo all the way to get to here, Dad. I just don't get it. Yeah, it's a job, but you have to go way out of your way to come down.
Yeah, so the grill, Center Street Grill, I think their starting is $17 or $18 an hour.
Yep. Yep, Center Street Grill, Kayden.
And they pay up to like, what did it say, $20 or $21 an hour? And Bret's getting 20. And what's it like down in Provo?
Bull Valley. It's summer up here.
It's not a scout reserve anymore, Kayden.
Nope.
Did they turn it back to the family, or?
Thought that last year, didn't it go to girls? They had something dealing with girls?
My understanding, even with youth conference, they kept at least 1 or 2 sessions of Boy Scouts.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Only youth conference.
It was on the youth conference. That's why
Like,
Mindy and Danny
the only
went.
ones that they even hired at all to work was pretty much a commissioner to make sure everything was running well. Ranger to make sure that they kept up, and then shooting sports.
So they thought.
So that they could actually shoot.
My understanding was that if it's not used for a Boy Scout camp,
Well, they must have made an agreement with the family, sweetie.
or maybe they pulled the same thing with changing the name.
I don't know. We're passing the birth town of Ezra Taft Benson.
And they forgot to read the stipulations. So they at one point changed the name, and then they got reading the title or whatever, and it said if it didn't keep this name, it goes back to the family. So they hurried and changed it back before the family figured it out.
It was Aspen Ridge, I remember that.
Yeah. It was Whole Valley, and then they changed it to Aspen Ridge, and then they changed it back to Whole Valley. But I would guess that the family would have looked it up.
Birthplace of Ezra Taft Benson, a little tiny town of Whitney.
Would have looked it up with everything happening with Boy Scouts, because
That's an old
It's also possible that Boy Scouts just used it for income. And maybe they figured out that somehow that's still because they retained the, I don't know. But I remember hearing that it was to be used as a Boy Scout camp.
Then you look at the BSA here, it's basically collapsed in this valley.
What?
BSA is basically collapsed in Utah.
It's basically a big island. Moo.
And I'm sure it was something, we don't know all the details, but it was something to do with everything that was going on with the BSA and the requirements. I would not doubt if some of it fell back on the pressure to send them to camp, but then the costs of the camps for each boy, because what a lot of people don't realize is how much it was going up every year. I mean, it was at a point where most of the BSA camps were only held aloft by LDS because a lot of the non-denominational or other ones would only go every 1 to 3 years, or every 2 to 3, maybe 4 years, something like that, because of the cost. Because the cost got so astronomical that a lot of parents didn't feel they could afford to send their kid every year, plus do all the other Boy Scout activities, pay for all the awards, everything else.
Fried chicken.
That's a solid turn lane.
Fried chicken, $7.99.
It smells good.
Domino's. I remember the Domino's.
That's what I was thinking when wondered if we had a shaved ice place, Danny, when David was saying he wanted stuff.
I remember Domino's at what? That is an interesting Wendy's. I remember Domino's in high school. It was cardboard pizza.
They've changed the recipe now, from what I understand.
What? For schools?
Yep.
I don't know. All I know is when I was there, it was...
I don't know, because my kids, when he was having cardboard, my kids had decent pizza. Since they were a charter school, I guess the rules were slightly different.
Yes, rules are different.
And so they could get away with it. I mean, they still had certain rules they had to follow. But...
What?
Okay.
What?
Just a random quest I just spun around here.
What?
What a raid!
Well, there you go.
So, I'm gonna do a Vulpix.
Papa J Burgers and Pizza Villa right side by side.
Looks, I don't need another American flag. No, you never have enough American flags.
I saw a picture of one even you might think, okay, that was excessive. Because like one flag would not even stretch out before it was touching another flag. And they were the small ones. It was so filled with that. Anyway, I think I'm going to let people go. We are getting close to the cemetery and
Please, Grandpa goes down here.
What?
Grandpa goes to John.
no, so I hope you have a good Memorial Day, and we will talk to you guys later. Let's see if there's anyone on that I can write.
Hey, Vulpix.
Now if I can just remember where it is off of here.
Good job.
So all these houses is gone in. I found it. All I had to do is find the golf course.
It's, you know,
Not gonna do Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
You keep going straight at the bottom of this hill, there's another hot springs resort that's really nice to stay at.
I know. Yeah.
Riverdale Resort.
The Scout, when we were in Scout, me and Danny went there.
I thought you stayed at Crystal Hot Springs.
No, we stayed at the one down here.
They don't have a place to stay at Crystal House.
Oh, let's
Oh,
join
that's right.
Jess. Let's do that. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Wait, I had.
It's okay, clean my window off a little bit. A little tiny cemetery right here.